Most people who go through this will deny that they are, but to everyone else around them, it's pretty obvious. Yes, we're talking about the midlife crisis, and according to Wikipedia, it's a time where adults come to realise their own mortality and how much time is left in their life. My guests tonight are psychotherapists Claire Eva Pierce and Elaine Hopkins, who went through something that changed her life around. I'll ask you, because you're a psychotherapist first, what is midlife crisis?
Well, I think you explained it very well. I think a midlife crisis is a point in time when people's lives are perhaps halfway over and they start to face their mortality and they ask themselves, is this it? Is this my life? And they start questioning their life. There may be a sense of feeling unsatisfied, unfulfilled.
Is it normally people just say that maybe haven't conquered dreams that they maybe had when they were younger and they feel like they've missed out somehow? Or is it anyone, like even if they're doing well, say?
I think everybody goes through a midlife crisis, but I'm not sure everyone suffers in the same way. I think perhaps people who have fulfilled themselves may not suffer in the same way.
So everyone goes through it?
Well, it's very hard to generalise in psychology, but I would say that a lot of people will experience midlife crisis, but not everybody will suffer in the same way because maybe they have accomplished what they set out to. It just depends how fulfilled they are at that stage of their life.
Okay. What are some of the signs, Claire, of a midlife crisis?
Well, I think there can be loss of confidence. There can be a sense of not knowing where you're going in your life. What am I to do with my life? What am I going to do with my life? What am I going to do in my life? For some people there can be extreme depression and a sense of meaninglessness. There's no meaning. There can be a need to revisit decisions and choices that were made many years ago. So it's a real time of revisiting and re-examining, questioning, who am I at a very deep level? Where am I going? And how can I make my life? How can I make the best of my life? So on one level it's a crisis, but actually what I want to say is really exciting. The Chinese have a word for crisis, and the meaning has two meanings. It means danger and opportunity. So are you going to see this crisis as a danger, or are you going to see it as an opportunity for growth, for change? I'm inspired by your story because I think you're a really good example of how you turned what was a very painful story into your advantage. In other words, you transform your life. You had a rebirth, and I think that's the opportunity within midlife crisis to actually, as you say, reinvent yourself, rebirth parts of yourself, and I get the sense that you're connecting to your purpose.
Let's talk about relationships as well now. How I think sometimes it's very hard on partners when their spouse or their partner is going through something, is going through midlife crisis. What are some of the kind of crazy things maybe that people do, or unexpected things that people do, would you say, Claire?
Well, I think the stereotypical is if we think of if we go to men, for starters, is perhaps grow their hair. And buy a red sports car. That's kind of like a stereotype. That's
Does that actually happen though? Like,
I think so. It may, a sports car, or have an affair. And that's quite common. To perhaps leave their wives, or to have an affair with a woman who's much younger, maybe younger enough to be their daughter. It happens. But I think
do you speak to people that are going through that as well?
I have had experience of that working with clients. Yes, I think we have to remember that what's important is what's really going on. On the surface, there may be an attempt to reclaim their youth, but actually maybe there's sense of urgency that time is running out for them, and actually it is more serious because it's an opportunity to really make the most of your life. And for some people, there is a sense of boredom, and there's a need for excitement. So maybe for some people it is a sports car, or to do crazy things like jump out of an aeroplane, or
But with the, like, for example, the men that have affairs and women even, I suppose.
Yes, some women too. Yes.
I mean, what's their thinking behind that? Because obviously they love their partner, but it's like the need for excitement kind of overrides that love. So they normally regret it.
It's very hard to generalise it in psychology because everyone is different. But I think everyone is different. For some people, there will be big regrets. You know, especially if they're turning their back on their family and their children. You know, I think it's hard for me to give you an answer. I think everyone is, each case is different. Okay. But yeah, some people regret.
How can family members help then in this time if they see, like, I don't know, their dad just acting really like crazy, and they start to get embarrassed about the kind of things dad's doing, like, growing his hair when he's all balled up here and he just grows the back and stuff like that. How can like family members deal with it and help?
Well, I think, you know, offer your love, your support.
Not laugh, right?
Not laugh. No, take them seriously. Try and take them seriously. But I think, you know, maybe try and encourage them not to make any irrash decisions. You know, not to jump out the aeroplane, but whatever. I mean, maybe that's what they need to do. But maybe if they're not coping, maybe they need to consider some professional help. Because that's when I really do believe, you know, counselling and therapy can make the difference, can actually, you know, make you understand yourself, why you're behaving in this way, or what is the real need behind that behaviour.
How long does a midlife crisis last? Does it ever go away, or is it just there?
I think for some people it can be anything between 6 months to a year. And for other people, maybe a couple of months. I mean, in terms of therapy, I would say that, you know, a year could be an opportunity to work through some very deep stuff. But some people, maybe in 8 weeks, can actually make significant and lasting changes.
Well, when do you know when your midlife is? Because you don't know when you're going to die.
Well, that's right. But normally when, you know, you've got an education, perhaps you've had a family, you've got a career, you've done those building blocks, and then you're perhaps... It's like, what next? It's sort of, no, we don't know. But, you know, you start noticing, you look in the mirror and you think, oh my gosh, I'm looking older. So you start to, old age starts to look at you in the face. Your mortality, you know, there's a sense of urgency. Life is running out. If
we do realise that we are going through it, and it is like maybe a scary time for someone. What are some of the tips, what's some of the advice that you would give to someone?
Well, I think if you can manage within your own resources, fantastic. Elaine, you were fortunate enough to be able to do that. And that's great. And some people can, you know, some people are very resilient. But there are some people who perhaps but may want to consider seeking professional help. Whether that's a coach or a counsellor or a psychotherapist who can support you through it, who can help you reassess, help you examine those questions, help you think about where you're going, think about who you are and where you'd like to be, and challenge you for who you could be, so you can step into who you really can be. You know, to help you step into your potential and examine perhaps the blocks that may be there that are stopping you from doing that.
Does it help to talk to other people as well that are going through, have been through it?
Yes, as always, because I think, you know, otherwise you think it's just me. And also there can be, for some people feel shame that they have these feelings of self-doubt, that they feel, oh, I shouldn't be feeling like this. I shouldn't be feeling so negative. And so not, you know, to actually be able to talk to someone, say a professional, where you can be authentic in your feelings, really be honest about, you know, how difficult it might be.
Are there typical signs for women as well that may be going through it? How would you recognise if a lady's going through it?
Yeah, I think women, I know women who have retrained completely, you know, maybe they've been a barrister and all of a sudden, like you know, they realise, actually I want to write a novel. They've gone down a particular professional route that maybe was in line with their expectations of their parents. You know, this is what I should have done. And actually, you know, they're really, because one of the things I ask my clients is, you know, I take a detailed case history and I ask, what is it that makes your heart sing? So I really help clients to connect to what really matters, you know, to really connect to your values. So...
And obviously, yeah, it's true, because if they're not doing something that makes them happy, there's going to come a point where, because maybe like you're saying, they studied a certain thing just because their parents said they should, but that's not what they really want to do. And it's bringing the income in for a while, and that's helping because it's paying the mortgage, but it's going to come to a point where they're going to wake up and say, hang on a minute, I'm not actually enjoying myself here, it's not what I want to do.
Exactly.
And that's quite I suppose, a scary time, because you do think that you've wasted all this time. But it's not... In a sense, yes, maybe sometime, but it can all turn around, can't it?
Well, I think a new conversation can be had. It can be, you know, what are the lessons I've learned? What can I learn from that? Rather than look at it as a mistake. Actually, what can I take from that? How can I take what I learned into my next so many years ahead of me?
Yeah, because you must have picked up something all that time.
Absolutely. Every experience in life, negative or positive, there's always a learning in it. That's how I see it. You know, there's an opportunity. Turn your crisis into an opportunity. You know, turn your depression into an opportunity to really reinvent yourself, to really step into more of who you are. I mean, we suffer not for the sake of suffering, it's for the sake of actually stepping into more of who we are. And I think that's the exciting part. For me, that's the bit that really
I agree.
inspires me.
Ladies, thank you so much. That was great.
Thank you.
If